Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. George Cohn, Lest We Forget World War II Museum, Louisville, Texas. I'm just thinking about Gerhard Siebenkäse from the 29th Panzer Grenadier Division. So when I was going back and forth between Texas and Germany, interviewing German vets from the Salerno invasion, one guy from an outfit would give you his buddy's number, and then he'd go to him and he'd give you another buddy's number. And so you could network like that. And I want to say, Quit Saib gave me the number of Gerhard Siebenkäse. I called him up. He was nice to me. I asked him for an interview. He said, come on. He met me at the train station. I remember he was wearing a black beret. He was an old guy, and we went to an Italian restaurant. And I said, why are we going here? He says, because we're going to be talking about Italy. He said, I love Italy. And he ordered in Italian. He spoke Italian to the guys. I said, how do you do it? He goes, I learned Italian when I was in the war. So Gerhard bought me lunch in the Italian restaurant, and then we went to his apartment where I interviewed him. He was an interesting man, I tell you. I remember when we were through with the interview, and I said, okay, I'm headed back to the train station. He said, I'm going to go with you. And I said, well, no, you just stay in your apartment and rest. You probably want to take a nap. I said, I'll make it to the train station. He goes, no, I'm going with you. And he went to the train station with me. And you have to go down the stairs to go to the subways to get to the other platforms. And I said, okay, I'll see you later. And he goes, no, I'm going with you to the platform. I said, Gerhard, you don't need to traverse all those stairs for me, buddy. I appreciate it. And he said, you came to visit me. I'm carrying you to the train. And when I got into the train, he stood there at the platform. And as the train began to go choo, choo, choo and drive away, he stood at attention and he saluted me. And he was wearing that black beret. And I thought, wow, isn't that wild? I saluted him back, Isn't that wild? This guy that fought my dad saluting me. So I remember him telling me, he said, as a kid, I always wanted to ride my bike through Italy. He said, but I had no idea that I would walk from central Italy to the north in retreat during a war. He had told me that he had won the Iron Cross second class, and that when he was in prison camp, he said he was so hungry. He said after the Americans found the concentration camps in Germany, they weren't treated very good in the prison camps anymore. He said he was so hungry, and the guard was eating a chocolate bar. And he was asking the guard for a piece of it, and the guard said no. He said, I'll give you a whole chocolate bar for your medal. And Gerhard said, the medal didn't mean anything to me at that point. I just wanted to eat something. He said, I traded him my Iron Cross second class for the chocolate bar. And he talked about it. It's funny how the Germans talk about the wrapping on these chocolate bars. It's a thick cardboard with a wax paper, and it's hard chocolate. He said it was delicious, and how it was nutritious for him, and la-di-da. But I remember him saying, after all these years, I kind of wish I still had that Iron Cross second class. So when I was back in Texas, I had a few of those at one time. I don't know where they are now. I can't find them all. Some of them got away from me, I think. But anyway, I pulled out the nicest one, and I wrapped it up, and I put a picture of my dad in uniform in there with it. And I mailed it to Gerhard. And I told him in the note, I said, Gerhard, I ran into that POW guard that took your medal for the chocolate bar. I said, I talked to him about that and told him how you wanted your medal back. And he said that he felt ashamed for taking your medal, and he wanted to give it back to you. So here's your Iron Cross second class back. You earned it. You should have it. And he called me on the telephone. And that was a big deal. Back then it cost to talk on the telephone. You kids might not know this because it's so free for everybody to talk everywhere, but you talk long distance and it's going to cost you money. And old people didn't do that. He called me up and he thanked me profusely for that Iron Cross second class. And I remember him telling me, he said, as an old man, when I sit and watch these documentaries about World War II, he said, it was just all craziness. He said, I can't believe that as a young man, I was caught up in that. He said, but when I think back, I recall singing and gleefully going off to war, wanting to do something for the fatherland. And he said, once I got in combat, he said, my good buddy that was sitting right next to me got killed right next to me. He said, I just wanted to go home after that. He said, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But he said, they don't let you go home. You're in for the duration. So, hats off to Gerhard Siebenkäse I hope they buried you in that black beret. I hope they put some Italian espresso in your coffin. He was a very nice gentleman.